You are watching UCU Focus TV.
Hello and welcome back to Focus Personality. My name is Laura SMILEY. As you know how we do it here on the show, we bring to you students that, stand out at Uganda Christian University. Well, today I'm honored to be seated right next to the Vice President of the 26th Guild Government. He is Muteri Richard Miro, and he is going to talk to us about his accomplishments and who he is generally. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so maybe you could tell the people who you are and what you do and other things that, that are on the CV.
All right. For starters, I am a student of finance and accounting. By the grace of God, I am the Vice Guild President, as you've said. I am also the current Scrabble captain. I am also a member of the UCU swimming team. And yeah, I'm a member of different clubs and associations around school, and I participate actively and also provide insight in how they're managed within the institution.
Oh, that's really great. I'm talking about you being a leader. Is this the first time you have led, or there is history of you being a leader of some kind of sort?
Yes, I've been a leader before. This is not my first university I've been to. I am a pharmacy professional, which means that I went to medical school for 4 years and graduated, and also did some practice. So I had another life at campus before, and even there, I was a leader of sort. I'm also an elder child, and so sort of like yes, it's a birthright for me to be a leader. I've been a group leader, yes, I've been a group. And so because there was a huge knowledge gap, I decided to switch, basically. I thought I would read this stuff on my own because I was always reading in the internet. But then I realized I actually need to go and understand these things more deeply, more intricately, and be able to talk about them with some level of authority. And so I made you call it a tough choice to hit the reset button and come back and do an arts course, even when I never did an arts combination at A level. I told my parents about it, and because my parents also that was my friends, they said, yeah, sure, go for it. If this concerns you and the rest of your life, we've got you. And so they just gave me a push. I had a sister here who was doing Glow at the time, and most of her classmates had seen me as a bigger brother, and so they were shocked to see me again in year one. But yeah, it was a thrilling experience because I loved what I studied, and because I loved what I've studied, it also favored me in a sense, and always gave me an edge in terms of my performance. Yeah.
Okay, so here at UCU, well, you have you're on the Guild Government, you're also on the Scrabble team, you're also in the swimming team. Isn't this a lot to juggle? Would you say sometimes you have breakdowns, or you are, standing firm?
There's a word that describes people like me. It's called multi-potentialite. People who have potential for different and diverse fields. And so what looks like a heavy load is sometimes even feels like a light work for them. Why? Because everything they touch and everything they draw that draws their attention sparks an interest, and everything you approach with that kind of curiosity and enthusiasm rarely feels like a burden. But yes, sometimes it feels like a burden, especially now the leadership bit of it, because I never switch off the leadership button. I don't have moments where I'm not the Vice Guild President, as I'm always the Vice Guild President, whether I'm on campus or off campus. My personal contacts are public contacts. When someone calls me, I don't say I don't know this number. That doesn't exist in my dictionary. I have to pick up the call, or I have to return the call in case they miss call. So sometimes it's a burden of sort, because especially with leadership, not everything happens at your convenience. Sometimes meetings will happen when you're just occupied, you're not around, you're not available, you've not sort of like prepared for it, but it's happening at a time which is convenient for someone who you need a lot, for example, like the VC or the DVC. And so and some meetings are unplanned for, unpredictable. A crisis happens and you have to meet and discuss how to go about it. So sometimes it's challenging, but God's grace makes it a little bit of light. I'm a believer, yes. So I sort of like, I go and recharge in my secret place with God and just say, man, I didn't choose myself. You chose me.
Yes.
So just help me do what you've called me to do in this institution. Yes.
Well, okay. Now let's go to a personal topic. Talking about the leadership, especially in the guild government. Most people have a challenge whereby, when now they're in leadership positions, they start having issues like in their relationships, in their personal lives, their friendships, their relationships in class, classmates, lecturers. Has that been a problem that you have faced, or, you're trying to deal with it?
Yes, it was a challenge of sort, but a challenge I expected. And because when you become a leader, you're the same person to yourself, and there are people who have known you before you're a leader, but you become a different person to so many people. For some people, they discover you only when you have become a leader. And so I kept my circle really close. I could designate times that this is time for my friends, and this is time for the public, because I'm public property as a leader. At a point, I had a challenge with my lecturers because some lecturers would not see me at certain times, and I would have to explain myself that, there's really a crucial meeting, there's something. And so some people at a point felt like I'm giving some kind of priority to the position and the president, but then it's a very demanding thing. In fact, sometimes you don't only serve students, you also serve staff people. Okay. And so when they need students to convene, when they need to pass on information, it's you they reach out to. And you're the one to mobilize students to get things done. You're the hands and feet of the administration. Yeah. So you'll walk to different places. You get your hands messy. So it's a bit challenging, but I thank God for my friends. They were quite I don't have a huge circle, so they really understood that, okay, this is something for a while. It will come and it will go, and I hope I've tried to balance. I believe I've tried to be available even to my friends, and even my personal relationships, even my siblings. Yes, so I've tried to be really present, because I did not let this get to my head or allow it to drown me, because it's a very big position, and therefore I should stop the world that existed before I became a leader. So it's a delicate balance, if you ask me.
Okay. What could, you've talked about challenges. So what could be your successes, like things that you've said, okay, these are my achievements in the government. Briefly, could you share that with us?
I think the biggest achievement for me is, in part, I tried to reinforce the students' faith in the government, because, everyone has a perception about this thing called the guild government and what it should do, and if it's actually doing what it should do. And so I realized early on that I have to be available. I have to be close to the students. They should never feel that vacuum. And in part, slowly by slowly, it wasn't an easy task. People, their faith was sort of renewed that, okay, we have a guild government. Okay, there's this person we can reach out to. Not just myself. And I think one of my biggest successes was to be a team lead, in a sense, because when you're a leader, you're not just a leader of students, but you're also a leader of other leaders. And not all leaders are, in a sense, prepared to be leaders. And so in part, you have to also motivate other leaders to do their job. And so I think I tried to carry this infectious energy within the government, that this is a full-time job, and on top of that, we are paid, we are remunerated as guild leaders. And so just to remind them that we have to be available for the students. And so when I realized that other leaders were picking onto that infectious energy of, okay, we have to be available, we have to show up, we have to get things done for the students, that in myself is a success. But also, because I lead a docket of clubs and associations, I am proud to say that I've seen clubs and associations thrive under my tenure. I recently issued out certificates of registration, which means that all clubs and associations can open up bank accounts. They can lobby for funds at different institutions. It's an instrument of identity that was lacking ever since COVID hit us. And so many associations died there were ghost associations. We've supported some who have provided work plans. Let's say they needed funds. So in part, that was a success. And mostly the advocacy role. Most of what we do as guild leaders is not immediately seen. For example, when we meet the vice chancellor and we tell him, hey, students are suffering with this thing called tuition. And we tell him, can you provide work study opportunities? And he says, okay, we're going to incorporate that next year. So you will not see it in our tenure, but then you'll see next year that there will be some jobs announced and they're gazetted for students. You want to do some cleaning around, but the school is paying you and that's helping you support yourself in school. So we play advocacy roles when people call us and they're having issues with missing marks. We make those calls and we get things rolling in the right direction. So sometimes what we do is not seen. It can only be felt. And so there's so many, it's a sum of so many little successes, but mostly for the part that we have been available to students when they needed us, and not so many people can say we needed you and your doors were closed to us. For me, that's a success.
Wow, that's amazing. You had it from himself, actually. And thank you so much for coming through the show and, talking to us and telling us who you are. And, now people understand our vice president. Thank you so much for tuning in to Focus Personality here on Focus TV. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share on all our social media platforms. I'm still Laura Smiley. Next time, bye.